Hey everybody, it's your hospitality friend Glenn recording this at the NYU IHIF conference here in incredible New York City, where I found my friend David Duncan of First Hospitality. First, I want to thank my friends over at Actable. Actable, they give you the power to profit. Now, on to David Duncan. Oh yeah, actable.com. Please check that out for you. David, it's so good to see you.
You too,
We haven't spoken in a while. You've been up to a lot of things, both on the operating side of the company and in the investment side of the company.
Yeah.
How is the universe of hospitality investment looking like today in June of 2026?
The common theme is it's tough to get anything done with, the rates and all of the sort of distractions more broadly. But pleased to say, last time we spoke, we said we're leading into, closing our first fund, and happy to report we actually did both of those things. Closed our first fund and have our first acquisition.
Oh, great!
Coming up in the next few weeks. So
congratulations
exciting on that front.
What type of properties are you focused on through that fund?
We are focused on something, generally speaking, under $100 million that needs some love from a capital perspective, from a recapitalization perspective, or an under branded or under managed. And so anything where we think we can bring our what we call our alpha management company to improve the solution, we're open-minded. And so not particularly restricted on what's interesting, but what that sort of falls down to these days is not necessarily any new development acquisitions, but existing buildings that need some upside.
And David, that is the theme that I'm hearing here at this conference as I'm recording this, is that it's much harder to get new construction done, but sellers are getting off the sidelines now, it seems, whether or not they want to or they feel like they're being forced to, which is opening up the opportunity to get more deals done. But sometimes getting that financing is tough, but with your fund, you can kind of see around all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So generally speaking, would you confirm we're kind of more in a conversions market right now?
Yeah, I know,
see that.
For sure. I think that the vast majority of things we're working on, we get calls every week for development. They very seldom pencil, and so 90% of what we're working on is conversions and existing buildings.
Which makes sense, and insurance rates, I do not believe are going to be going anywhere but up anytime soon, so that kind of changes the dynamics there. Now, on the operating side, you guys have been continuing to make strides into more hotels, more regions, and kind of pushing out west, yeah?
Yeah, we are. So we're trying to broaden the geography, two things: broaden the geography and continue to expand our relationship with institutional capital on the third-party management side.
Yeah.
We've actually signed 7 deals this year, which is for us a big number.
Yeah.
We're really excited about that. And most importantly, we're now moving southwest and southeast, adding in Santa Barbara, Sedona, New Orleans.
Ooh, Sedona.
We're already in it. We just added recently in Atlanta. We've been in those markets for quite some time, but really nice to be filling in those markets, sort of hub and spoke model.
So what's the first move that you have to think about when you go into a market you've never been in before as an operator?
Yeah, the desktop study of the economics, the geography, relatively straightforward.
Yeah.
The real challenge is talent, quality of talent. How do you recruit and retain the best talent there? And that's really the most complicated part of any new city. Not surprising, it's a human business.
No, right.
The corporate relationships matter, and the talent that you're hiring.
Funny enough,
really the big thing.
I often talk about like culture, and I mean culture of countries and stuff like that when I'm talking about moving to other countries. But the culture in New Orleans has got to be different than culture in Santa Barbara, and we tend to lump it all together as American culture, but we're so big, and those are thousands of miles apart.
Yeah.
So you probably have to adjust and think about how people live and work and just are in these different regions.
You do, and I think what we've experienced is, that's where you're the new person in town. That's where your reputation matters more than ever. And so, pleased to say we have a good reputation and high marks on Fortune Best Places to Work. And so, what we find is they'll diligence us in terms of what kind of culture we have. But you're right, you have to sort of obviously meld into the local culture. But I think what is important for us as we build the company and expand it is to retain what we think is our special sauce, which is our sort of internal culture. And
of course.
At the end of the day, that's relatively straightforward. Looking out for each other, having each other's backs, and those values, but sort of making sure the team we're recruiting is, works within our culture, and that's sort of the secret sauce for us.
Yeah, I mean, that has to be, because that's really what you get all of that employee engagement from. So before we wrap up today, what is the one thing you're doing to be able to do more with less?
Yeah. maybe next time we talk, we'll talk about some of the things we're working on in AI in terms of tech stack. I think we have the industry's best tech stack in terms of historical legacy operating data, leveraging that information from new tools that are available. We'll be rolling some things out over the next 3, 6, 9 months. And so I think we'll talk about that. You know, obviously tech is the big thing these days, and the speed of AI is stunning. And so keeping up with that is super important. And most importantly, really capturing part of it for internal use is what we're really super focused on.
Yeah, it's really fun to be in this experimental phase, trying new things, see what works, what doesn't work, what has potential, what should be left to the others to worry about. Anything else you want to add?
No, thanks for spending time with me.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, and trying to get this one scheduled. Whew, that was a rough one, so glad we got it worked out. He's David, I'm Glenn, you're you. Like, share, subscribe, all of that kind of good stuff. Love you guys. Bye.